I can't even tell you how many times I've heard someone say, I've worked so hard on this, or you have no idea just how hard my work is, or how hard my job is. And I just have two questions on this. One, what is hard work? And two, is that the key metric that we should be using to measure success? That's today on the 306 podcast. Welcome to 306 Podcast. My name is Scott. If you're a local here, welcome back. We're so glad to have you back with us again and trekking with us through this topic. And if you're new, if this is the first time stopping by, thank you so much for taking a couple of moments to watch this podcast. I really do hope you enjoy it. And if you would like to become a local, all you have to do is follow us here on YouTube. Just subscribe to us. You can find us on social media. Just search for Love Local PA. And the purpose of the 306 podcast is to strive to find ways to lead ourselves and others, regardless of where we are in life, because we're all in various parts of our life. So some of us are, in our late 20s. Some of us are in high school and college, later on in life. And so regardless of where you are, you still need to be leading yourself. You still have the obligation to lead others and to lead them well. And so that's what our goal and our purpose is here at the 306 podcast. So if that's something you're interested in, then I would say you might want to subscribe. So today we are talking about hard work, what it is and what's the purpose of it. What do we need to do? All my life, as far back as I can remember, I've always been told, Scott, if you want to achieve your goals, if you want to reach your goals, you're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to work harder than people. You're going to have to put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. But what's that even mean? Like really, if you think about it, what is hard work or working hard? What does that does that mean that what I'm doing needs to challenge me? Does it need to be physical work? Does it need to be, mentally hard? Does it have to actually be difficult for me to do? Does it have to... is it just a difficulty standard? Can something be achieved in life that's worthwhile that you don't achieve through hard work? And does hard work automatically mean happiness? Does hard work automatically mean success? I don't know. I'm just talking from my experience. I've seen a lot of artwork where someone worked really hard on something, and at the end of it, it looks completely atrocious. And I'm mainly speaking specifically about me, like back in high school. I remember we had this art project, and I tried really, really hard. I took my time. I planned it out. I was thinking about the colors. I was thinking about designs and how to do it. And I'm putting this artwork piece together. And I looked at it, and I'm like, man, this sucks. And I wasn't happy about it. So I worked what I thought really hard on something. I put a lot of time. I put a lot of effort. I had a lot of passion for it. And it did not succeed. It did not make me happy. It was not a good experience, but I worked hard. And so if we're telling people, you just need to work hard, that gives them a little bit of a false sense of reality. Just because you work hard on something doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Or does it? I think we really need to look at it. And I want to be completely upfront with you. I don't have a psychology degree or whatever those fancy things are. I don't have any piece of paper telling me that, I'm any smarter than anyone else. And I don't really think that I have a full grip on this either. But I think it's really important to talk about this, to try to trek through this with you today. If you're going to take the time to watch this video, I at least want to give you some value for it. And so I would love for you to comment down below, what is your idea of hard work? What does it mean to work hard on something? Because I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your opinions. But I think first, what we need to do, because what I'm striving to do here is two things. I identify what hard work is, and then try to figure out is hard work the best metric to identify success? Is that how we should be identifying success, by how hard you work? Well, let's see this. But before we get into like defining what hard work is, because I think it has a very complex definition, I think we first need to acknowledge that hard work is going to reveal itself differently in each and every person. And so what I consider to be hard work, or what is hard work for me, may not be the same for you. It may flesh itself out very differently. I think it's the same. I don't even know really how to say it. I think it's the same thing, but because of our positions and how we're made and our gifts and our talents, hard work is going to be different for each and every one of us, if that makes sense. You may find hard work in one thing, and I may find it in something else. But I think that it's important to have this conversation, because if we're going to be telling people and we're going to be setting them up by saying, hey, if you just work hard, if you put in more time, if you put in more effort, then you're going to be successful. And I think that that's wrong, because I think that you need to define what your definition of success is. You have to define how much work, how much time and what effort is. And if we're going to be telling people that, then we need to kind of understand what that means, because that's actually very vague. Oh, just put in time. Oh, so you're telling me if I just show up for a long amount of time, that I'll be good. Oh, I just need to put a lot of effort into something. There's things that I've put effort into. Namely, you can put a lot of effort into relationships that never amount to anything. So you're saying, oh, just put a lot of time and effort into it, but you have to be really passionate about it too. Well, you can put time, energy, and passion into relationships, and it's never going to bring about success. But that's relationships. Relationships are kind of like in a category all to themselves. So here is my definition. This is my working definition of what it means to work hard. And it's not a simple definition. It is not by any stretch of the imagination simple. It is actually complex. And the more I look at it, the more I'm like, oh, well, we need to expand this and we need to look at this. But essentially, this is what it is. Working hard, or hard work, is defined this way. And it is having the desire to use your God-given talents, past experiences, while exploring the best resources available, working on a task that results in developing your talents, adding to your experiences, and developing new resources so you can add more value to future tasks. Now, I understand that was such a mouthful of like crazy run-on sentences, but let me go through it again. Hard work is having a desire to use your God-given talents and past experiences while exploring the best resources available, working on a task that results in developing those talents, adding to your experience, and discovering new resources so you can add future to value tasks. In short, I guess you could say it's being dedicated to increasing your talents, expanding your experiences, and learning from other people and their past experiences. It's not necessarily having success on a particular project or a particular task, but it's improving on a variety of different areas in your life. Okay, so we have multiple talents, we have multiple experiences in our life, and we have a practically unlimited amount of resources at our fingertips. So at any given time, we need to be using these God-given talents, and then using those talents based on our experiences in the past, and then we need to be adding to that what other people are doing in that same category or in the same area of expertise that we are in. And so I guess an example would be this. If I want to be a good podcaster, which I do. I want to be a good podcaster. What I need to do is I need to first identify what my talents are. And if you're watching this, you may be saying, I don't really think you have any talents. Well, that's a different topic. But I need to figure out what my talents are. I need to look back at past experiences. What have I learned over the past 28 podcasts? What talents am I trying to improve upon? Is it speaking into the microphone? Is it research? Is it, looking good on camera? Is it whatever it might be? Finding a talent, looking at my past experience, and then looking at what other people are doing and what they have learned based on their past experiences. Putting all of that together, working on a task, which would be to make a better podcast. And working towards all that, meshing all of those things together so that I am improving my talent, so that I'm adding to my experience and discovering new resources. So here it would be in a practical application. So one of my talents, I think, is I do fairly well at speaking. I think that I can speak fairly well. I think I can enunciate well. I think that I can grab some people's attention and keep them interested for a select amount of time. So that's something that I need to improve upon. I need to use that in order to create a better engaging podcast. So I need to be using that talent. I need to look at past experiences. What experiences do I have in the past that I can build upon, that I have a desire to flesh out, to bring forth, to use my talents to, show those experiences. And then I need to look at what other people are doing. If I look at what other podcasters are doing, what they're talking about, things that they've experienced, maybe they've gone down a road that didn't end up so well, so I can learn from that. Maybe they're talking on their podcast about things. Maybe they're doing things on their podcast that I can then replicate or improve upon myself. And I can put all of that work, all of those things into one podcast. That would be the task, working on a task. But by doing that, by working on that task and bringing those three things together, I'm improving myself so that I can add value to a future task. Because the goal is, after episode 29 here, there's going to be an episode 30. And after each episode, I should be increasing my talent. I should be adding to my talent. I should be adding to my past experiences. And I should be adding more resources, people that I'm finding, things that I'm studying, things that I'm learning, so that whenever I get to episode 30 and I go and I'm starting on a new task and I start putting all of these things together, I've increased my talent, increased my experience, and increased my resources. That is working hard. That's not just working hard, that's also working smart. So where do you get the desire? Before we get to desire, maybe we should talk about what the difference between hard work and work ethic are. I just defined in a very complicated kind of way what hard work is. And I would say that a good work ethic is working hard on a series of tasks over an extended period of time. So it's working hard continuously for a while. And developing a track record of working hard develops a good work ethic. That would be my kind of quick definition of that. So the first thing that I said is that you need to have a desire to use your talents. And so how do we do that? And I wrote a lengthy amount of notes here, and so I want to try to stick to them. And so if I'm looking down at my computer, that's why, and I apologize for that. So how do you create that desire? Well, I believe that you need to find your calling in life. Okay, so you may feel, and I did. I wanted to be an NBA star whenever I was younger. I felt that was I had a strong desire to do that, I guess. or at least I thought I did. Or maybe you want to be a famous actress, or you want to be a doctor, biologist, lawyer. Throw out any of those like normal cliche-ish kind of occupations that people come up with. So here's the thing. You may feel like that is your calling. Oh, I've been called to be an actor and make millions of dollars and blah, 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 blah. But the problem is, if you don't have a true desire for it, it'll never come to be. You can't just sit there and say, oh, if I desire this enough, it'll happen. Because remember, if you look at that definition, it's having the desire to use, and use is an action. You need to be actively using your talents. And so I would say if you're actively out and you're, doing shows and short films, and I would say, okay, that's maybe possibly something that you would be geared to do. But if you're not actively out there doing that, then you have a problem. So, and you'll never become the famous NBA player or the actress unless you're actively using those talents. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, they don't have the talent needed to get to that level. Okay? They're not learning from other people's experiences where they're not good enough. They're not learning from their own past experiences that they're not good enough. Okay, so the problem that I'm feeling, that I'm seeing at least in our society, is that we're not putting enough value on individuals themselves. And here's what I mean by that. So people don't believe they're unique or special, or that they were created to have a purpose. And I do. I believe that each and every single person was created with a purpose. They have a unique calling specifically for them. I believe that with everything in my heart. But unfortunately, we're being told that only certain people have success because they have a particular job, they have a particular a status, they have whatever position that they have, and that's how it's measured. It's measured by money, it's measured by influence, power, and I think that's all completely bogus, because I've seen too many people that have had the fame, the money, the influence, the power, and they're miserable, and they end up committing suicide, they end up becoming addicted to drugs, they end up completely ruining themselves because they attained all of that stuff, but they never found their true calling. And I would say that there are far more people who have found their calling, who aren't just swimming in cash, and they're not out in the public eye, they're not in a high position of power or influence, and they're the happiest people on this earth because they found their calling, they found a desire to use their talents, to use their experience, and to use resources around them to be of value in the future. And that value may be to other people. Feelings and callings are very different. We have feelings about a whole lot of things, but callings are very, very different. A feeling is something that we have, that we create based on experiences in life. So if I feel afraid of something, it's because that I've experienced something in my life, or I've gone through something in my life that I now find something to be frightening. A calling is something that God puts in our lives, and you can completely fall off the tracks and be like, oh well, there's no God, blah blah blah. But it's whatever. I mean, you don't have to watch this, but this is what I have found to be true in life, and what millions of other people have found to be true in life as well. And I would say that prayer, worship, and a closer relationship to God is where you can start uncovering your calling. And that's kind of, finding your calling's a kind of completely different topic altogether. But the desire will grow in you when you have found the right calling, because you can use your talents, you can use your experience, and you can go through this whole definition of hard work and all of that other stuff and not be happy. I believe that true happiness comes out of finding the right calling and working hard within that calling. because there's just way too many people who are in the wrong professions. That they got into a profession and they're using their skills and they're using them blah, 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 all that same stuff, but they don't feel happy. They don't feel fulfilled. And why not? It's because they're not doing what they've been called to do. And like I said, I mean, I have a very, very limited understanding of this, and I'm just trying to work through it myself. But this is just simply what I've been tracking through. And this has been the most understandable and the most obvious solution to me. And I didn't come to it easily. I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours trying to just define what hard work is, because it's such a layered beast of a term, and it means so many different things. And I'm not even sure. I mean, I'd love to hear what your opinion on what hard work is, because I feel like it's a state of mind versus actually doing things. And it's doing something now while investing in yourself in the future. And it's not necessarily about a particular thing, because you can create something, you can work really hard at it, and it fail. But where that failure turns into success is whenever you work on the next project and that kind of situation comes up again and you say, no, I remember based on a past experience that doesn't work. We failed at that. And so by doing that, you may fail again, but you've added that value to it. And so it's a super complex kind of thing that I don't even think that we can get our whole mind around it at this point, at least. I haven't looked into it enough. I haven't studied it enough, but I really wanted to start this calling or start this dialogue on it. And here's what I came up with as an example for me. So I'm a video creator. I love making video and all that kind of fun stuff. And for me, it would be like this. It's like, hey, you need to make a wedding video. It's like, oh, well, you love making videos, so here, go make this wedding video. And I would say, I'm not going to get any enjoyment out of that. Despite how much they pay me, I'm not going to get it. Because even though I'm using my talents, I get to use audio equipment, I get to use video equipment, lighting equipment, I get to tell a story at someone's wedding day. It's beautiful, it's amazing. I have no desire to do that. None. And I've worked a couple of weddings, and it's just I find no desire in doing it. And a buddy of mine does very, very well. He loves it, and that's what he wants to do. And I find that to be great. But it's not my calling. And I'll be very, very honest, I'm still trying to find my calling. And yes, that may come as a surprise, but you can be successful financially just by using your talents, by using your experiences, and grinding out day after day after day. You can become financially successful, and a lot of people do that their entire lives. But I will say this, it's very short-lived what you actually enjoy of that. Because it's always fun whenever you are using your talents and doing things like that, and you're making money. Making money always seems to make things a little bit more bearable. I mean, if you have to push a wagon up a hill that weighs 100 pounds, I mean, that's not going to be enjoyable. But if I throw $1,000 at you for getting it to the top of the hill, it makes it a little bit more bearable. But if I ask you to do that day after day after day after day after day after day after day, the money's only going to make you happy for so long. And then it eventually wears out. Eventually you burn out, and eventually the money and the success of having a big, powerful company or a big, powerful position and all of that stuff, it doesn't hold the weight that it used to. And I wonder how many people are experiencing this. They got into a job and they loved the job at first, but then they've maxed out. They've gone to that place of management, or they got into the hierarchy of the company. And it's no longer what it used to be. They're no longer happy. They thought that they wanted the position. They thought they wanted that salary. And maybe when they first got there, or maybe before they got there, they were kind of in a lower management job, and they said, oh, if I could just get to that next level. Now they're at the next level. They're like, oh, if I could just get to the next level, I'd be happy. But how many of them have failed to realize that the position isn't what makes you happy. The money isn't what makes you happy. What do we need to do in order to make us happy? The only way that I can say you can find your true calling is you need to trust God, and you need to explore realistic options. I mean, and I say realistic because you always get the smart, wise person, the smarty pants, who will say, oh, well, maybe I should just go explore the Arctic tundra, That's not maybe it's realistic for you, but it wouldn't be realistic for me to find out what my calling is. But sometimes you'll find that in order to reach your calling, you may need to carve it out for yourself. Once you find what you really want to do, that desire will be there to use your talents, to use your experience, to use other resources to carve it out for yourself. Maybe that means starting a company. Maybe that means starting that 501c3. Maybe it means starting that foundation or that organization. Maybe it means going to a business owner and saying, hey, I could really do this for you if you'd want to hire me, and you carve out that position in that company using your talents and your skills. That's hard work. It's identifying that desire that you have and then using your talents, experiences, and resources to make it happen. That's hard work. But that's also fulfilling work. You will get more fulfillment out of that than anything else. Other times, you just need to speak what your desire is, and it'll be presented to you. You need to say, man, I would love to be able to do X, Y, Z. And if other people are using their talents and skills and resources, you become a resource to them, and they say, hey, so-and-so is saying that they would like to do this. That would be a tremendous resource to our business. That would be a tremendous resource to our organization. Let's have a talk with them, and let's work together. And so there's a lot of different ways to get to that point. But there's so many people that are afraid to get out of that norm. There's so many people afraid to say, well, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I would say the grass is going to be green where you have your desires. If you have your desires and money and power and influence, yet it's not going to get any better going out and chasing after other things. But if you're saying that I really have a desire to go after what my true calling is, the grass will be green. It may not be green when you first get there. It may be a difficult situation, but that's where the hard work comes in. And hard work I just want to make this clear. Hard work is not just a job. Hard work is in every single area of your life. That's why life is hard. If you've ever heard someone say life is hard, it is. Life is really hard. And it gets harder the older you get. And for young people, I'm not meaning to like scare you or anything. I'm meaning to encourage you so that you can start to develop this work ethic in every area of your life. Relationships are hard. Marriage is hard. Raising kids is hard. Work is hard. Being involved in a ton of different things is hard. But you have to work hard. You have to find the desire in each of these situations. That's why you have many talents. That's why you have many skills. That's why your experiences are vast. And that's why there's so many of us that are striving towards the same goal so that we can help each other, so that we can lead each other. But that's what I want to end with today. Hard work is mostly about leading yourself. And it's about leading others. If we go back to that definition, it's using your talents, past experience, while exploring the best resources available, but it's in the latter half of that statement. To work on a task that results in developing your talents, adding to your experience, and discovering new resources so you can add more value to future tasks. And maybe you adding more value to future tasks is leading other people. Maybe it's bringing other people on board and training them and teaching them and developing their talents and developing their experience, adding to their experience and bringing them additional resources. Maybe that's what your calling is. To train, to teach people. Maybe your calling is to build something, to build a platform, to build a product or a service that adds value to people's lives. If there's something that you wake up in the morning and you're thinking about, and you think about it all day long, and this is the last thing you think about before you go to sleep, maybe that's what your calling is. And if you're not doing it, then you're not living out your calling. You're essentially, and if you say, well, I'm working hard at my job, well, you're throwing all of that hard work away, essentially. When you could be living out your calling, doing the things you are meant to be doing and making a big impact on people around you. And so I would leave you with this. I would encourage you. What do you feel your calling is? Comment it down below. What do you feel your calling is? I'm still trying to identify mine. So if you don't have it, don't feel bad. But what is your calling? What do you think it might be? And it might be 2 or 3 things. Well, I have it narrowed down to one of these 3 things. What are you currently doing to go after it? What are you currently doing to seek out your calling? Or maybe you've already found it. Maybe you're one of the people that's watching this and you're like, I already found my calling. Great. What advice, what tips, what can you add? What value can you add? How can you be a resource to us and help us to find ours? Let that be my challenge to you this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe. Comment down below. There's a lot of things that you can get involved with just in this podcast. Or if you want to go back and watch some of our other podcasts, please do so. They're all on demand, all free for you to watch. And I would really be appreciative of you doing that. If you're a local, thank you again for coming back and watching. And please connect with us. You can visit our website, lovelocalpa.com. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I would really appreciate the opportunity to get to know you and to talk to you and be a resource for you. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week. And remember to lead and encourage others who are leading as well.